From Lagos, Nigeria, this is News Central. I'm Felicity Ezewike. The top stories tonight. DSS arraigns 9 suspects over alleged involvement in Benue and Plateau killings as President Tinubu backs state policing. House of Representatives Speaker unveils proposed reform in ongoing review of 1999 Constitution. China marks 80th anniversary of end of World War II with display of military might as it unveils new weapons on Victory Day event. And in business, the U.S. government is allocating over $30 million to WFP Nigeria for food and nutritional support in conflict zones.
Perfect Faye upstages pre-race favorites to claim boys 100-meter title at the ongoing National Youth Games.
Tonight begins now. Thank you for tuning in. We begin tonight with news that the Department of State Services has arraigned 9 suspects linked to attacks on Yelewata in Benue and Plateau States. The suspects were brought before Justice Emeka Wike of the Federal High Court in Abuja, where they all took pleas to multiple charges bordering on terrorism. Justice Wike ordered that the defendants remain in DSS custody and adjourned the case to the 2nd, 9th, 10th, and 17th of September for continuation of trial. The Yelewata attack, which happened in July, saw armed men invade farming communities on the Benue-Plateau border, leaving dozens of villagers dead, houses razed, and hundreds displaced.
Suspects from both the Plateau crisis as well as the Benue massacre. And for the records, we condemn in the strongest terms what the terrorists did in Plateau and Benue, and we commiserate and sympathize with the families of the people that lost their loved ones as well as the communities. Also, moving forward from now, we are not going to leave any stone unturned in our investigative approach to making sure that everybody, no matter how remote they are involved in this crime, will be brought to book. Then back to what you said, we charged about 9 people today, so that's what we are doing at the moment. And in the course of the trial, we'll still charge more people. And before I forget, today we have filed a new 5-count charge against another defendant in the Plateau crisis. And this goes to show you that we are not relenting in our fight against this insecurity that is currently ravaging our country. So from now henceforth, we also appeal to the general public that if you have any information, no matter how remote you think it may be, reach out to the security operatives, because we can only work with those informations.
Staying with security matters, President Bola Tinubu has thrown his weight behind state policing, noting that the creation of a decentralized force has become necessary more than ever. Tinubu made the remarks while receiving a delegation of prominent Katsina citizens led by Governor Diko Rada at the presidential villa in Abuja. The president also directed security agencies to review operations in Katsina following a surge in banditry and announced plans to deploy advanced military hardware and surveillance equipment. The engagement comes following the deadly attacks, including the killing of worshippers in Nguwa, Mantao, and the burning of homes in surrounding villages by bandits, a situation that has deepened public concern over the safety and security of residents. There's more in this report.
Tinubu has met with key stakeholders from Katsina State to address the worsening insecurity situation across the region. The meeting held recently at the presidential villa in Abuja focused on finding lasting solutions to the surge in violent attacks, including killings and abductions that have left communities in fear.
we wish to draw urgent attention to the recent surge of insecurity in some parts of our states. We particularly refer to the tragic incident in Unguwar Mantau village in Malumfashi local government, which claimed the lives of 25 innocent lives.
Directed all the security agencies to energize further, to look at the strategy again, additional deployment of air drones, and if they have to shift movement in between Katsina and other boundary areas, they should do so. And they're going to give me a feedback by tomorrow.
The talks come in the wake of a recent attack in Unguwar Mantau on August 19, 2025, where armed bandits stormed the mosque, killing scores of worshippers, kidnapping others, and setting homes ablaze in a nearby village.
My addition to this, in building local communities, we need to build their capacity, skill acquisition at various levels is urgently needed in order to curb this unemployment.
On the security, Mr. President has committed himself that there is going to be an increase in the number of troops that will be deployed in the state and assets for the military, and also he has promised intervention with air power.
The government says it is working with security agencies to bring an end to the bloodshed in order to protect the lives and properties of citizens. In Abuja, for News Central, Bettina Unwili.
Many thanks, Bettina. Security analyst Dr. Dixon Osagie joins me now for this conversation of national importance. Thank you very much for being here. Let's start with the president's reaffirmation of his commitment to continue to fight insecurity. And I mean, he talked about strategies and overhauling of that in Katsina, considering what has happened in recent times. Talk to us about your assessment of what he has done in his time in the presidency that compels some sort of confidence in the affirmation he's given on the fight against insecurity.
Oh, thank you very much. I think I really appreciate the position of the president and the stance, because one thing is all about speaking and another is about action. And I think he's trying to put action in place instead of speaking and talking. You know, Nigeria have been suffering from this multi-dimensional security threat simply because we've not had an efficient strategy to, deal with these criminal elements bedeviling our great country, Nigeria. From the east, west, and north, we've come across various forms of criminal activities, from kidnapping to banditry to terrorism, assassination, and various formation of crime. And they've seen Nigeria as a vulnerable place to commit this crime and go scot-free, capitalizing on our vulnerable borders and also taking shelter from the government space. So the president himself has called the service chief on various occasions and gave them a marching order to ensure they bring this criminal element to justice and eliminate them from our territorial space. But still, we are suffering from multi-dimensional threat and attack of our people every day and now, and that is a good time for us to commence this is a good time for us to commence the state policing, as the president has advised that that is the way to go, because previous administration have tried to debate this and there's no result from this debate. So I think he has come on board to advise on this debate, and that tells you that the section 214 of the 1999 Constitution will have to be abolished if we have to go by state policing, because that Constitution, that section states that there will be no any other police force in exception of the Nigerian police. So if that state policing is coming to stay, then the section 214 will have to be abolished.
State policing as regards what he said, but let's talk about these suspects that have been arraigned, because for a while now, a lot of persons have been saying, how come it looks like nothing is happening in terms of justice, arrests, some sort of prosecution in the cases happening in Benue particularly and Plateau States. What's your thought on these suspects that have been arraigned by the government and the accusations against them? Is it enough to assuage the concerns about, nabbing people and getting culprits to pay the price?
Well, it's so sad, and I will tell you that my country, Nigeria, has paid a lot of us, and it's very disturbing to see a country like Nigeria forgiving or pardoning criminal elements, terrorists, labeling them as repentant terrorists, labeling them as those who have laid down their arms. And this is also an avenue for futuristic criminals to capitalize on this, these tactics of the Nigerian government. From a while ago, a few years ago, the United Arab Emirates released some list of terrorism sponsors, and the federal government were unable to, bring them to book or, name and shame them. And we've, debated this on various fora that we need to name and shame these people that are sponsoring terrorism. We cannot go after the fighters or after, the guys on the boots. You need to go after their sponsors, go after the head of these people. But now this suspect that were paraded today is not it's not an achievement, because the number of people that have been killed within the Nigerian space is very, very disturbing. And we're parading about 9 people. Let's see how it goes. Speedy justice is another issue we have. We could see what happened between the Finnish government and Simon Ekpa, how they carried out the speedy judgment. Pre-trial processes took them about 3 months, and the execution order was given. An order was given for him to be detained and locked up for 6 years. That tells you that the Finnish government has an effective judicial system. Right. One of the major problems we have in our country is crime and punishment. If we don't have an effective punishment measures in place, crime will keep on flourishing, and that is where we are today in our country. Crime will flourish in the absence of punishment.
Okay, let's take a thought quickly before we go to the state policing conversation. The president talked about enhancing the capacity of forest guards in Katsina. What are your thoughts about using forest guards as, one of the measures to fight insecurity in that state with what we've seen in recent months?
All right, the president needs to be well advised that when it comes to security management, 3 factors are responsible, not just human factors. Bringing the forest guards are human factors. What about the technological approach? I overheard the president talking about drones. That's fine. That's technological approach. Because the whole essence of security is not for you to send your officers and men to be killed like chicken. It's for you to send in drones to carry out the surveillance activities within the enemy suspected position, and then you can send in troops or send in some beautiful bombardment and take out this enemy threat. So for me, the establishment of forest guard is also very important, because our forests for a very long time has not been manned by technological manning and the human manning.
All right.
And that is why most of this terrorist group, pass through that vulnerable areas and take that area as their shelter. So the forest guard is a welcome development.
All right. Let's talk about what the president said about state policing. He reminded everyone that as of February 2024, a committee was set up. States were supposed to bring in their reports. So far, as of March, unless I'm wrong, as of March, 20 states were still outstanding with their reports. And he mentioned that. But is there something that the presidency could do to hasten the efforts towards state policing, perhaps compelling states to bring their reports so that the committee can do a holistic job?
Well, most of the countries in the world operating a federal system of government, applied state policing, and that's why they are able to respond to crime with speed and momentum. Americans practices state policing, India, Canada, and Australia, with other countries in the world. So I don't think Nigerian should be, looking away from that possibility of having state policing, But we have to also look at the argument in favor of state policing and also the concerns. The argument in favor of state policing for me, as a security consultant, why I call for state policing is in the area of response to criminal activities, because we are only being reactionary in our own country, whereby criminals go carry out their criminal activities, kill everybody, and go back home safely. But state policing will not allow them to go back home safely. That is very important that we understand that the responsive measure is going to be swift. That is one, and also we're going to have a form of deterrence, in place that these guys will know that there's going to be an effective deterrence, because presently we are practicing a centralized policing system where the order flow from Abuja decimates into 36 states of the country, and that is very slow, and also stops a quick response. So we'll have state policing is going to be good. But the argument, the concerns about the state policing is the abuse, you know, so that the politician will not abuse that. So for us to have an effective state policing, the government needs to have an effective structure in place.
Dr. Sage, is there anything that doesn't have a downside? I mean, we have a situation, and some of the suggestions we put forward is that state policing will help to ameliorate some of our challenges, and the president is saying he's working towards that. However, I want to know your quick thoughts on people who say that the way that the state policing is being talked about doesn't seem like much work is being put in, because the president is making this statement about creating state police at a gathering where delegates just came to pay a courtesy visit. It was not a deliberate act, perhaps, to say, we've done this, and this is where we are at, and this is what we plan to do. So is there perhaps a more strategic way that the president should go about talking about his plans for state police?
Yeah, fantastic. There is a fantastic question. I think the president just, you know, lets it out today to most of these elders from our various communities. But that is not the proper way to address this situation. It's just like a joke, you know. But for me, I think for us to have an effective strategy in place, first of all, the 36 states of the country needs to send him an assessment, carry out a crime mapping analysis of all the states. For example, Lagos State will engage some security professionals to carry out crime mapping analysis of Lagos State, put it together, and also advise the government of Nigeria on what to do in this area, ascertain most of the crime-prone area, because some places in Nigeria are safe. So for us to establish state policing, first of all, there should be an assessment of all the states. The funding is also important. Some states might not be able to fund it. So for me, it should be able to speak with everybody, call all the state governors together, and also deliberate on it before, you know, letting it out that we're going to have state policing system.
Dr. Sage, thank you very much for speaking with us. We appreciate your time.
Thank you for having me. Good night.
Tonight returns after this very short break. Please stay with us. Thank you for staying with us. You're still watching tonight on News Central. A reminder of our top stories. DSS arraigns 9 suspects over alleged involvement in Plateau and Benue killings as President Tinubu backs state policing. House of Representatives Speaker unveils proposed reforms in ongoing review of 1999 Constitution. China marks 80th anniversary of end of World War II with display of military might as it unveils new weapons on Victory Day event. The Speaker of Nigeria's House of Representatives, Abbas Tajuddin, on Wednesday unveiled the reforms being proposed in the ongoing review of the 1999 Constitution to stakeholders in the southern region of Nigeria. Among the reforms are gender inclusion in politics and governance, youth and women empowerment, and constitutional roles for traditional rulers. The Speaker, in his address at the Citizens' Round Table with the leadership of the House in Owerri, the Imo State capital, stated that through a series of substantive consultations, the House has sought public perspectives on key legislative priorities and pressing national issues. Represented by the House leader, Professor Julius Ehoveri, the Speaker said the House initiated a legislative dialogue with traditional rulers who are the custodians of Nigeria's rich cultural institutions. Let's also tell you that the People's Democratic Party governors have sent a strong message to the faction led by Minister Nyesom Wike ahead of the party's national convention. The PDP Governors Forum insists the November convention will go ahead as planned, rejecting what they describe as attempts to stall the process through demands. The Wike-led group, known as the Eminent Leaders and Concerned Stakeholders, had set several conditions for backing the convention, including fresh congresses in Ebonyi and Anambra states, and official recognition of the South-South Congress held in Calabar, Cross River State. But speaking at the inauguration of the Convention Planning Committee in Abuja, Bauchi Governor Bala Mohammed, who chairs the forum, declared firmly that the governors are not cowards and will not bow to arrogance. Oluwafemi Rotifa, a young resident doctor at River State University Teaching Hospital, has died after collapsing following a grueling 72-hour shift. He reportedly slumped in the cold room after reviewing a patient and was later confirmed dead despite resuscitation efforts in the ICU. The Nigerian Association of Resident Doctors condemned the incident, citing excessive workload and unsafe call schedules in the hospital. The association's president said many doctors endure shifts far beyond 24 hours, with some on call for weeks, worsening burnout and health risk. He urged government intervention through improved welfare, adequate staffing, and humane work schedules to prevent further tragedies. Let's head on now to the Federal Capital Territory, where the Federal Executive Council FEC meeting scheduled to hold today at the State House, Abuja, has been cancelled. No official reason has been given for the cancellation, and a new date is expected to be announced in due course. The Managing Director of the Nigerian Railway Corporation, Dr. Kayode Okpeifa, has visited the site of last week's Abuja-Kaduna train derailment to assess the level of recovery work. It told News Central that work is in progress to meet the 10-day restoration timeline set by the Minister of Transportation, Said Al-Khali. Okpeifa confirmed that several of the damaged coaches have been evacuated, leaving just 4 that require more technical expertise to remove. He also disclosed that out of 583 passengers on board during the incident, 510 have so far been contacted and their health complaints recorded, with additional support mobilized from Kaduna to attend to affected passengers.
We cannot restore the track until we get all this removed, and then we prepare the substructure and then create a brand new track. And materials for the brand new track is being moved now. Some are coming, many are coming from Kaduna, some are coming from our freight yard at Idu. What we are doing at the back there is to create a platform for the crane to stay. We can't land the crane without a proper. So after this is done, they're going to compact it. They will also brought some timber woods that the crane will move on. So when the crane comes in, the crane will lift the equipment. Out of the 583 passengers, the total number of the train is 618. I think about 510 or so, I'm not too sure. As at last night, I've been contacted. Our doctor in Kaduna has been summoned to return back to Abuja. He's going to join the lady doctor here.
Away from that, let's tell you that the Federal Competition and Consumer Protection Commission, FCCPC, has introduced new regulations to address harassment, data breaches, and exploitative practices in Nigeria's digital lending space. In a statement on Wednesday, the FCCPC said the Digital, Electronic, Online, or Non-Traditional Consumer Lending Regulations 2025, also known as DION Consumer Lending Regulation, were officially gazetted and took effect on July 21. The Commission said the rules issued under the Federal Competition and Consumer Protection Act 2018 will serve as a comprehensive framework for registration, transparency, and ethical loan recovery. A short break, and we'll be right back. Stay with us. Russian President Vladimir Putin says fighting in Ukraine will persist unless a peace agreement is reached, as he concluded a diplomatic trip to China. Despite recent mediation efforts by U.S. President Donald Trump, negotiations have made little progress. Putin criticized Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky's legitimacy and ruled out an immediate meeting, though extended an invitation for talks in Moscow. He also said Russia is prepared to elevate its peace delegation. Meanwhile, Moscow launched over 500 drones on Ukraine early Wednesday, followed by deadly shelling that killed 9 civilians in the country's east.
Не просто призывы, а искреннее желание найти это решение. мне кажется, есть определенный свет в конце тоннеля. Посмотрим, как будет складываться ситуация. Если нет, то нам придется решить все поставленные перед нами задачи вооруженным путем.
In a powerful display of military strength, China marked the 80th anniversary of its victory over Japan in World War II with its largest ever military parade in Beijing. President Xi Jinping showcased an array of new weaponry, including nuclear-capable intercontinental ballistic missiles, advanced laser weapons, hypersonic missiles, and giant stealth underwater drones. The parade was notable for the presence of Russian President Vladimir Putin and North Korean leader Kim Jong-un, joining Xi Jinping for the first time in a public show of alliance. The three leaders meeting together sent a strong geopolitical message amid rising global tensions. For this conversation, we have international affairs analyst Dr. Ella Ezadilieje joins me from Port Harcourt. Thank you very much for being here. The celebration of the 80th anniversary seems to be providing some ground for a coalition of countries united by their common dislike for the United States, if you like. Do they really pose a concern for an alternative world order?
Okay, well, let's not confuse matters. When it comes to politics, global politics, optics, very, very important, but not the most important thing. Now, this event is a commemoration of the 80th anniversary of the end of World War II and how China, with the aid of the Allies, defeated Japan. And this is the very first time these three world leaders are appearing in like forever. This is the very first time. So it is more like a show. It is more like a show. And like you said, they are mostly united in their dislike for the US and the West. It's like a situation where the enemy of my friend is my enemy, something like that. So the three nations coming together, or Russia and North Korea attending China's event, it's like showing the world, showing the West that we are standing together. But again, this is not an alliance. This is not an alliance because these three nations need different things. Their strategies are different. Their national interests are different. And like we all know, in international politics, the ruling principle is that of national interest. What can we get out of this? What do we want from this? And I can tell you for free, these three countries do not want the same thing. They don't. The only thing that's uniting them is their dislike. And you can dislike someone, you can dislike a bloc, you can dislike the West, you can dislike the US, that's fine, but they are very, very far from, being an alternative world order. Very far from that.
I need you to also weigh on this because Donald Trump has responded. This is the first time all three leaders have been seen in public together. But Russia has shrugged off remarks by the U.S. president that the meeting isn't about conspiring against America. Yet, you say they might be bonded by their dislike for America. Isn't there any implication to this? We're not just talking about any country. We're talking about the United States of America.
Okay, well, when it comes to things like this, World War II happened and there are lessons to be learned. And the biggest lesson we learned is that.
All right, Dr. Ella, can you hear us? I think we lost you for a bit. I think the internet just interrupted what would have been a really good conversation. Okay, if we get her back, we will go back to that conversation. But for now, let's tell you that President Donald Trump has reaffirmed a strong U.S. military presence in Poland, stating that more U.S. troops will be deployed if they want. He made this statement at a White House press briefing during Polish President Karol Nawrocki's visit. Nawrocki's trip, his first overseas visit since taking office, focused on reinforcing defense cooperation amid concerns about regional security and NATO posture. Trump's commitment offers reassurance at a time when some advisors are reportedly considering shifting troops away from Europe.
We have American soldiers remaining in Poland.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, do you know something I don't? I don't know. Yeah, we're very happy. If anything, we'll put more there if they want. But they've long wanted to have a larger presence. We have some countries that have more, not too many, but no, they'll be staying in Poland. We're very much aligned with Poland.
Business, sports and entertainment will be next after this short break. Stay with us.
You're welcome to Business Tonight. My name is Chamun Dabeng. The United States government has announced a $32.5 million contribution to the World Food Program Nigeria to support internally displaced persons in conflict-affected areas of the country. According to a statement from the U.S. mission in Nigeria, the funds will provide food assistance and nutrition support to 764,205 people in the Northeast and Northwest. Beneficiaries include 41,569 pregnant and breastfeeding women and girls and 43,235 children who will receive complimentary nutrition through electronic food vouchers. The contribution comes as WFP Nigeria had earlier warned of operational challenges caused by funding shortfalls threatening its humanitarian response in the region. South African business confidence edged down in the third quarter of 2025, hurt by steep U.S. tariffs on exports, a survey showed on Wednesday. The Rand Merchant Bank Bureau of Economic Research Index dropped to 39, below its long-term average of 42. The survey, conducted August 6th to 25th, coincided with the start of a 30% tariff, the highest for sub-Saharan Africa, hitting Johannesburg's exports and disrupting the auto industry. RMB's chief economist Issa Malanga noted the trend aligns with global challenges. Meanwhile, the Rand touched a 9-month high in late August on a weaker dollar and rising gold prices. Moving on to the stock market, the Nigerian Stock Exchange closed in the red today as the all-share index slipped to 0.45%, bringing the market cap to 87 trillion. 41 trillion naira, pardon me, and the ASI also closed at 138,156.16. And we also will be moving on to the sectoral performance. Like I said, the stock market today is basically swimming in a sea of red, and insurance took the hardest hit, dropping at 4.46%, while banking dropped to 0.55%, oil and gas down 0.44%, and this is coming amid price fluctuations, global price fluctuations, while consumer goods has dropped 0.9%, and industrial goods also is the only light shining in this lineup here, going up by 0.23%, a very modest advancement, but one nonetheless. And that's a wrap on Business Tonight. Coming up in a bit, we have sports. Please do stay with us.
And in sports, Team Delta ran a historic race to win the gold medal on home soil in the mixed 4x100-meter race, the first ever race at the 9th edition of the National Youth Games in Asaba, Delta State. Team Delta ran the fastest time in the heats and going on to run sub 44 seconds in the final. Delta quartet of Ufuoma Merit, Faith Chukuma, Oriri Ogene, Atori, and Honoriode Peter combined to win the gold medal, clocking 43.77 seconds to beat Bayelsa and Edo State. Delta State also ran the fastest time in the boys 4x400-meter heats, clocking 3 minutes 26.42 seconds to beat Lagos State into second place. However, there was a huge drama in the final of the boys 100-meter final where Perfect Faye claimed the national youth title, just about edging Emmanuel Akolo of Lagos in a photo finish with both sprinters finishing in 11.11 seconds. Peter Honoriode of Delta State came third in 11.21 seconds. Moving on to football matters now, Nigeria Super Eagles camp in Uyo received a significant boost on Tuesday with the arrivals of forwards Ademola Lookman and Cyril Dessers ahead of the crucial 2026 FIFA World Cup qualifying fixture against Rwanda. The arrivals mean that all invited players have made it to the camp as head coach Eric Schell continues fine-tuning his strategy for the decisive Group C double-header, which will also see Nigeria travel to face South Africa in Bloemfontein next Tuesday after battling Rwanda on Saturday. Team captain William Chust Ekong says the players are in good shape and feel positive ahead of the all-important clash.
I'm looking forward to having a full house for training tonight. But yeah, no, I think the boys are very focused. You know, we're looking forward to the game on Saturday. I want to thank them for their support. I want to ask them to continue to encourage us to be there in the stadium on Saturday, to be praying for us, everyone else in Nigeria. No, it's going to be important. You know, set up games for us now, starting on Saturday. We know the gravity of this game, and yeah, we're going to be focused on preparation because I think that's the thing that's going to give us confidence for the game on Saturday.
Still talking about the World Cup qualifiers, Gabon replaced Ivory Coast as Group F leaders after they defeated Seychelles 4-0 on Wednesday, courtesy of Dennis Bouanga first half hat-trick. The Los Angeles FC player is now the leading scorer in the African qualifying series with 8 goals, 2 more than Egypt and Liverpool star Mohamed Salah. Giannis Mbemba completed the rout with a goal after 89 minutes. The fixture, Seychelles had to move the fixture to fellow Indian nations, Mauritius, as they do not have a stadium of an international standard. Gabon have 18 points from 7 matches in the 10-round mini league, 2 points more than reigning African champions, the Ivory Coast, who host Burundi in Abidjan on Friday. Now, former France international Wissam Ben Yedder was on Wednesday convicted of psychological violence against his estranged wife and ordered to pay a fine of 90,000 euros. Ben Yedder did not attend the verdict, and his lawyer, Marie-Romian Seva, said the former France player will appeal. It was the 35-year-old former Monaco and Sevilla forward's second conviction in less than a year. In November, he received a suspended 2-year jail sentence for sexually assaulting a woman 2 months previously. He was also given a 6-month suspended sentence by a Spanish court in 2023 for tax fraud during his 2016-2019 spell at Sevilla. And that's a wrap on Sport Update. I am Udoka Njoko. Up next is entertainment with Edewo.
To Edewo for tonight's entertainment stories. Hello, Edewo.
How are you doing, Felicity? Well, today's entertainment is more about legal battles and legal wins, but I'll give you all the details right now. All right, now the Ikorodu Magistrate Court has ordered a DNA test to confirm the paternity of Liam Aloba, the son of late Nigerian singer Mohbad. The ruling came after Mohbad's father, Joseph Aloba, filed an application asking the court to clear the doubts surrounding Liam's paternity. He argued that, settling the issue is important for the child's future and welfare. Mohbad's widow, Omomi Cynthia Aloba, who was, named as the respondent, did not oppose the request. The court ordered the DNA. They have 2 DNA tests to be carried out, one in Nigeria and another abroad. With both families present, the case resumes on November 11, 2025. Now, Felicity, I just want to say one question or one statement. Looking at this, people are of the notion that the reason why the father is so hell-bent in having this DNA done is because if Liam doesn't turn out to be Mohbad's son, he gets to be, responsible or gets all that Mohbad had as a person. So people are just saying that. What do you think about it?
From what we've been told repeatedly, is that a child born in a union belongs to the couple. DNA, it's their right. Of course, it's their right. This whole matter has become too
it's becoming
toxic.
too toxic.
That's
and
what
messy.
a lot of persons have said.
Yeah.
So, but I do think that they were married, they were together. The man is not here to defend himself.
Yes.
And I might not have followed the case as religiously as I should, but I don't think there was a question. The boy was born before the father died.
Yes.
So there was no question as to the paternity
at
the time. So again, it's their right.
All right. Well, let's move on quickly to some other legal wins. As Cardi B walked out of a California courtroom with a big win after a jury cleared her of assault claims brought by former security guard Emily Ellis. The case stemmed from a 2018 incident during the rapper's secret pregnancy, where Ellis accused her of, cutting her face with her nail and spitting on her. After just an hour of deliberation, all 12 jurors agreed Cardi wasn't liable. Now, speaking outside the court, Cardi B celebrated the verdict, warning she'll countersue anybody with frivolous lawsuits against her. Ellis, who maintains the incident ruined her career and left her traumatized, has already vowed to appeal. Speaking about court cases here and there.
Well, I would ask, if she wasn't a celebrity, would she be suing? That's always the question I want to ask.
That's always the question, if she wasn't a celebrity. Okay, well, that's all we have in entertainment tonight, by the way.
And that's all the news we have for you tonight. But before we go, a quick recap of our top stories. DSS arraigns 9 suspects of alleged involvement in Benue and Plateau killings as President Tinubu backs state policing. Also in the news, House of Representatives Speaker unveils proposed reforms in ongoing review of 1999 Constitution. We told you as well that China is marking 80th anniversary of end of World War II with display of military might as it unveils new weapons on Victory Day event. Do send us your eyewitness reports to the numbers showing now on your screen. We'd love to hear from you as well on our social media platforms. That's at News Central TV. You can watch News Central live on DSTV channel 422, GoTV channel 23, Star Times channel 274, Avo TV, and on YouTube. As always, thank you very much for being here. We appreciate your time. Have a good night's rest, and I'll see you tomorrow.